Aneen, I'm Lisa Meaches. Welcome to our show. Over the years of producing the Sharing Circle, we've explored the history of how Indigenous people have been treated in Canada and how this affects them today. In fact, we've discovered so many unusual circumstances concerning Aboriginal life, we wanted to share many of these little-known facts in one episode we're calling Did You Know? And as you'll see in this documentary, when it comes to the state of Aboriginal affairs in this country, many Canadians are still in the dark.
Do you know when Aboriginal people got the vote in Canada?
No, I don't.
No, I have no clue.
1940.
1940. Well, close. 1960.
That's not close.
It doesn't happen until 1960.
My name is Brian Rice, and I teach at University of Winnipeg.
Before 1960, an Aboriginal person could vote, but only if they gave up their status as a registered Indian.
Under Diefenbaker's government, it's finally decided for the first time that Aboriginal people can remain, or Indians can remain as Indians, and at the same time get the federal vote. 1968 in some provinces, I believe.
But did you know Aboriginal people actually won the right to vote 75 years earlier?
In 1885, Aboriginal people in the East were given the franchise, the right to vote. But it was repealed because of the outcry by the general population who said, why should we have to support these people, so on and so forth, and at the same time allow them to have the rights of citizens.
Can you tell me what the Indian Act is?
No, I can't.
No.
Do you know what the Indian Act is?
Yeah, it's a policy that basically sets out rules and regulations that status Indians have to follow.
Oh, the Indian Act was never translated in an official, in any native tongue at all. And here it was representing, you know, who Indian people were, what they're allowed to do, you know, really has all this control on Indian lives.
It's to eliminate, eventually to eliminate any distinctions between Aboriginal people and the dominant society.
This is page 1 and of the 56 pages. They're beaded over. The Indian Act is beaded over with white beads, and red beads were the white pages. It was to render something that had so much power into something like that was like just pretty to look at, you know?
Even today, there's an Indian Act. You know, it's a colonial act that only applies to Indians.
The Indian Act became law in 1876. Over the years, it was amended to increase restrictions on Aboriginal people.
Has it ever been illegal for status Indians to operate mechanized farming equipment?
I would say false.
Say that again.
Has it ever been illegal for status Indians to operate mechanized farm equipment?
Probably. Yes. Probably.
It has to be false.
It's actually true.
And that means that Aboriginal people on their farms can only work with hand implements that they make themselves and not even allowed to use metal for nails. And as we get into the 1880s, Aboriginal people are getting very good at farming. And there's a great outcry by the population that this is unfair competition, so therefore Aboriginal people should not be allowed to sell their grain. There was a program loaning cows to Aboriginal people so that they could learn husbandry, you know, and taking care of domestic animals and these types of things. Here you've got cattle, and you can't eat it because you're not allowed to kill the cattle for food. So people were starting to starve. There was an Aboriginal man whose name was Almighty Voice, who killed a cow around 1890 or so. He was taken by the RCMP, or Northwest Mounted Police, I guess at that time, and ended up being told that he was going to be hung for it. He ended up killing the Mountie and was on the run for about 2 years. And then finally they caught him a posse of about 200 with cannons. And we just wanted to feed his people because they were starving, eh?